Hey guys! Alright, so I told you I'd start by gessoing this page, didn't I? Because I did not love what was going on. And I'm actually going to leave the drying in this portion to show you a really cool thing that happens, which you've seen before if you've ever used Dylusions. But because Dylusions are water-based, the gesso reactivates them. So it kind of pops through the gesso. It's really cool. Actually, it totally pops through the gesso. So you can see a little bit of it there, blue, but watch as it dries. Little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, until you can see really pretty much the whole stencil. It's just a kind of checkerboard, like a curvy checkerboard stencil that I cut on my Cricut. And that was a leftover that was on that page. So how cool is that? I mean, you couldn't see it under the gesso, and it just popped through because that gesso reactivated those Dylusions. So super cool, fun technique. Maybe think about just playing with all kinds of stencils, different colors, and doing all of your stenciling and everything on the background, throwing gesso on top, and all those colors would pop through and become almost a pastel. So here's one of my fabulous birthday presents was a set of Neocolors. So I wanted to play with those my first time, and I love, love, love them. On gesso, it's really easy to pick up the color because they're essentially watercolor. I mean, they're watercolor crayons. So it's really easy to pick up the color when you're blending it, even with just a paintbrush or your finger. So you have to be really careful to not pick the color up instead of just move it, which I do end up doing a couple times. It was my first time I get to play, so I was just doing a random pattern. This page, I knew what I was going to call this page when I started, which I very seldom do, I will have you know. I start and I think I know, and then it changes, but I usually don't even think I know. I think I may have an idea. I've run through a couple things for that letter in my head already, so I have an idea of where I might go, but this one, the page totally told me where to go with it. So it was going to be keep it simple, and yeah, no, the page said no. You need to know when to stop because you didn't. And the page was right. It's like my wife, but in paper format. It's always right. Not saying that it's a bad thing. She is almost always right. And don't tell her I said this. So if any of my friends and family who know my wife are watching this, keep your mouth shut. I know where you live. If I don't, I'll figure it out. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll show up and I'll sing in front of your house or something. I do stuff like that. So anyway, alright, just finished blending out those colors, adding a second layer just to get the color back. This piece of paper I have right here is a stencil from some company. I don't have it here with me. Sorry about all the ruckus. It's a company. I got this when I was in Lake Havasu on vacation, and I was just taking a baby wipe or a wet paper towel and trying to pick up the color through it, and it worked a little bit, but not very well. But I love that stencil. It's really cool. So now I'm taking plastic needlepoint, spraying water through it, and doing a ghosting. It works a little bit. You end up not really seeing it, but that's okay. I just was playing with my new stuff, trying to see what they do, what they don't do, what works best, what doesn't. And then usually whenever I do that ghosting, I blot stuff up. Blotting works better than wiping. Wiping tends to move the colors because they're water-based. Oh, this is fun right here. Okay, so I use almost every product in my stash. I'm going to stamp with bubble wrap with Color Shine. Yeah, this is going to go well. Wait. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah. It's like something purple bled out all over my page. So then I ended up just taking the wipe that I had and just kind of pouncing it all over to give it a real slight sheen, and flicked it on, and I didn't like that, so I just kept smushing it around with the paper towel. I seriously use almost every product in my craft room on this page. And I will have you know, kind of like how it turns out. There's a part of it that you will see momentarily. Well, not momentarily, in a bit, but I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it. So, yeah, it's okay. So now I decide to go and try stamping with that bubble wrap with distress ink, which works quite nicely, actually. I like how that looked. And then taking that needlepoint again, and I'm going to spray through it with the black marble Dylusions. I also like how that turned out. And this is that piece from my charging box that I ended up ripping off, and I'm just spraying through it to create some bigger boxes, and that's just a homemade white acrylic spray paint. This is some cheap neon pink craft paint. Dye over at Packer Dye is a friend of mine, and she has been using a lot of neons lately, and I told her, I'm like, great, now you've got me wanting to play with neons, but I'm kind of scared of them for some reason. I don't know, it's just they're so bright, I don't want to go crazy. So of course I use a whole bunch of neon on this page, which is me. It's go big or go home. Or go to the bar. And I'm not drinking very much right now. I'm trying to lose weight, so. Fun fact about Aaron at Imperfect Impulses. Oh, look at that real quick, that picture. Isn't that really cute? It gets completely destroyed. India ink around the edges. So fun fact about me, I used to weigh almost 400 pounds. I lost 120 pounds. No, I did not have surgery. I started running, started eating well after my son was born. I couldn't keep up with a newborn. And so yeah, I lost 120 pounds. And then I had a major surgery, and after that I just could not get back into the groove, and then I started eating and drinking a lot, and yeah. So I've put on about 50 or 60 pounds and back on. So I am turning it back around. So yeah, we're heading back down the other way. Started running again. So yay me. Paula Phillips, Journal Artista on YouTube. She's a big inspiration for me because she's an art journaler. She's lost a ton of weight. She looks amazing, and she's so brave for putting her body on YouTube. I mean, she's just incredible to me. So I doubt she'll ever watch this, but if she does, love you, girl. Go on. So I left this entire clip in here, which made this a fairly long video, but I wanted to talk through it because I think when I speed it up really fast, people have a hard time watching them, and because it's so fast, and I don't get as much chance to chat and talk, and I like to chat and talk. So I'm adding India ink here and doing like a bleeding flower arm, which was okay. I actually liked this. It's coming up in a bit that made me not like this. You will see. Which is why I left this whole thing, because I wanted you to see how I struggled with this, and then finally just, yeah, we'll see. So I should have gone from that petal where it's bleeding, I should have gone on the top part of that and bled upward, which I thought about doing, and I'm like, no, I'm going to keep going down, and yeah, here we go. So the fun's happening, people. Watch it. Okay, first ugly. Ooh, second ugly. And here comes more ugly. Didn't mind it so much on the background. On the flower, hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. So, since I have nothing else to do but sit here and watch the video and talk to you, if there's anyone out there who is trying to lose weight or finding it really hard to do, you have to know that, you know, even people who have done it fall off the bandwagon. Hello, Oprah. And God, how awful is that? Look at that black ink. Ew. Yeah, so we all do it. It's a part of life. You can't beat yourself up over it. You have to just, you know, move on, accept that you're human, you made a mistake, and treat every day as a new day. And just because you had one bad meal doesn't mean that you can destroy your whole day and go crazy for the rest of the day. That's a surefire way to fail, because, you know, the key is to make sure you treat every meal with the best options you can. So, if you do bad, say have a bagel for breakfast, I won't tell you who did that this morning. Me. Look at how ugly this. I mean, what is that? Is this my first time? No, it's not, but oof, Lord. Yeah, if you have a bagel in the morning, cut back on something else. So I had salad for lunch and some barbecue pork for dinner, just pork, and a little bit of white rice. And I don't eat after a certain time, too. 6. I'm trying to go for 6. So, and then if I get hungry or something, I just make some tea, either hot tea or have iced tea, and I try to drink it either unsweetened or with real sugar. It's just better for you. So it's all the little things that count. So I just keep fighting with this flower, and it keeps saying, "Hey, stop it! I'm ugly." Which is sad because I could have just left it alone and it would have been fine. Know when to stop. See how the page said, "Hey, know when to stop." So then I took the page over to my wife, who was working behind me. I said, "Okay, give me your honest opinion." And she said, "Hot mess." I said, "All right, here we go." So I'm just thinking. Oh, and I lost some footage. So in the background, you'll see a chevron. And what that is I took a piece of foam from the dollar store. And if you've seen my way early video on my channel about making stamps out of your embossing folders, if you emboss a piece of foam, you can use it as a stamp. And it doesn't give you a perfect impression, but it's awesome for art journaling. So if you can see, it gives me the chevron shape, but it's also, you can see a little bit of the shape on the inside too, where it shouldn't be there if it were a real chevron stamp. But that's okay because, like I said, it's an art journal. I might even use that on a scrapbook page because I actually like the look of it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make an embossing folder stamp out of all of my embossing folders and then coat them in Aleene's Tack It Over and Over. And then they can just mount right to your wood blocks. Or, excuse me, acrylic blocks. So, yeah, little fun tip there. And I just use distressing for that, just black soot. And I am now trying to get up as much of that ink as I can, and I am just covering that whole flower with gesso. It was just that bad. I couldn't do anything about it. It was just that bad. So, yeah, painting. And this is the whole reason I kept all of this footage was not because I was lazy in editing, because I'm sitting here as a piece of cake to cut out a couple minutes. It's a little bit easier actually, because then you don't have to voice over as much. But I wanted to show you that sometimes we all struggle, and we all have a hard time with products, and sometimes it just doesn't go our way. And like Donna Downey says, forward motion, just keep moving forward. All right, well, this flower wasn't meant to look the way it did, so now I have to do something else to make it look better. Because right now, no. So, and I switched cameras, which is why it looks different, because my other camera kept dying. The batteries just shot because of all this YouTube footage. And so I switched to my webcam, which is actually, it's a really good camera. I turned off the autofocus, and I think everything is good now. So I think I'm going to start using this all the time. So I'm just going back over this with another layer of gesso just to get it fairly opaque. Did I mention I used almost every product in my craft? Let's review what I've used so far. I have used gesso, Dylusions Pop Through, Neocolor. I sprayed white acrylic. I splattered pink acrylic. I sprayed with black Dylusions, Distress ink to stamp. How many things to add texture? Oh, God, 4 or 5. India ink is the black. And I don't know why I'm using a palette knife here. I I'm wondering if I mixed this pink paint with something, and I don't think I did. I don't know what I was doing with that. Maybe I was just trying to be fancy. I think I was. I was trying to be fancy with my palette knife, and I said, use your brush. So I'm just going in and I'm just painting it with that same hot pink that I used for the splatters. Oh, and I'm not done with all of the product I am going to use on this page. Not even close. We're about halfway done, a little over halfway done. So, more to come. And like I said, I actually don't mind how this page turns out in the end. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I have one of those Studio G tiny alphabet stamp sets, and it was still all blocked together, or all the rubber was still together. So I just inked it up with some archival ink and just used the whole thing to create like just a background texture on that flower. And yeah, that was fun. And now PanPastels, because those are new to me too, which you will be able to tell, like, duh, Aaron, those are brand new because look, you have no clue how to use them. And, you know, like I said, I'm just playing with them, having fun, and trying to cover up that mess. Anything is better than what that flower looked like with that awful bleeding mascara Tammy Faye flower thing that was happening. So, bless her heart. So I love my PanPastels, but I really have to get one of those palettes for it because it is so hard to find the color that you want when they're all interlocked like that. And I bought the set of 20 from Dick Blick, and it didn't come with individual covers for each PanPastel. So I have to keep them all locked together to keep them all together. And yeah, it's hard to find the colors. So I have to buy a palette. And now I'm just adding the stamens. Yeah, stamens. Yeah, not great. I'm aware. I'm aware. I end up dulling this out so you can barely see it, but at least it's kind of there. Like I kind of gave an effort. This video took about 2 hours to do this page, just because I was agonizing over that flower and what I was going to do, because I really loved that flower. That flower, by the way, came from a calendar one of my coworkers had up, and I really liked the calendar because it had all these really pretty flowers, and I'm like, ooh, these would be perfect, so I stole it. Taking that same Studio G set and VersaFine ink, and I am stamping the Know When to Stop on the page. I love these little stamps because they're great. You can make whatever you want on the page. However, they take forever. Even if you get all of the stamps out that you need, it's just so time consuming to find the one that you need. But I do have a tip for you. If you go to tear them apart and the rubber comes off, score tape. Score tape will get that rubber stuck right back to the foam. I had a couple that just popped right off, like they just weren't glued very well. And for $1, I mean, what can you expect from a set of stamps? So, yeah, a little tiny piece of score tape, and that stamp was good to go. I'm just using a random font that I have. I have no clue who makes this. I have no clue where it's from. This was bequeathed to me by a friend. So I don't know. Sorry. I'm trying to line it up. Sorry, I'm off camera. I have my little washi tape marks and apparently still can't figure out where I need to be. This is my first time using VersaFine, though. I just bought that ink pad, and I like it. That it takes forever to dry. OMG. Like, even with the heat gun, it took a while for that to dry. Like, I'm used to StazOn, which is also a pigment ink, and it dries fairly quickly with a heat gun. This took forever. I ended up blotting up some of it with a spare piece of paper just because it took so long. Yeah, I could have cut that footage out for you. Sorry. Don't call my name, Alejandro. Alejandro, Alejandro. If you're still here, you're a trooper, man. I mean, just bless you, you know? So now I'm just outlining the words with my Uniball Signo. This is a brand new one I just got. It's so hard to find here in Vegas for some reason. I mean, we have Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joanne, and I can never find them. Either sold out or don't carry them. And so we went to Lake Havasu and bought a bunch of supplies when we were there. And there's a cool little craft hobby store called the Sugar Shack. It's kind of small, but they had some really cool stuff. A lot of stuff that I've only been able to find online, so it was nice to be able to find some stuff. Never gonna give, never gonna give you up. We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. I'm not singing very loud because it's 10:30 at night and my entire house is asleep except for me, because I'm in here editing and recording my my little monologue for you. Bet you never thought you'd be rickrolled on a art journaling video, huh? You have been. It's not much more now, folks. I'm actually surprised that I did this page with the colors that I did, because it matches kind of close to the colors that I used on the other page. And if you've seen any of my videos yet, you know that I like to juxtapose styles and colors, and so yeah, it was kind of weird. But the Dylusion stencil that popped through the gesso at the beginning kind of dictated to me what I was doing. So I also used those little stamps and stamped the word exhibit and A. This is an Aaronism. I use it a lot, and yeah, so know when to stop. Exhibit A, and I'm going to do a little arrow pointing toward the flower. And this is my silver Sharpie paint pen. Silver one works fine. White can't get to work. Go figure. Figured a little pop of color would make this stand out. Do you like how I write? I write like a weirdo. Like, you have to use both fingers on the pen. I try the other way and I can do it for a little while, but my hand, it just doesn't feel strong enough. Yeah, I can pick up a penny with chopsticks off the counter. Go figure. Only me. And just so you know, I did use the, what is it called, Spectrafix, the indoor fixative, spray fixative for the PanPastels, so that they didn't go running all over the place and smudging off and ruining my beautiful redhead. Lives next door to this flower. And by the way, seriously, in the middle of painting that flower, I was so tempted to make that flower look like Patrick Star from SpongeBob. I swear to God. I was like, I should just make this look like Patrick, because it looks like Patrick's popping out the side of the corner like, "What you doing, SpongeBob?" Yeah, I can do Patrick's voice. My favorite episode is when he's talking about Texas, because the squirrel's from Texas, and he's like, "Can we say that shoes from Texas are dumb? Can we say that plants from Texas are dumb?" It's really cute. So my mom and I always say that. Can we see the shoots from Texas right now? I also like impersonating the fatheads from Rocco's Modern Life from the 90s. The the Mrs. Fathead, she would always say, "How dare you?" because something always like touched her bottom or whatever, so it was hysterical. Anyway, you know a couple of the weird things that I do now, because you didn't think I was weird enough to begin with, right? So all that's left to finish this page out is I add a little bit more India ink just to ground it into the India ink that's already there, just kind of scribbling and again just grounding it. Because right now the paint is just sitting on top of what was previously done. So I wanted that black to pop out more, and it brings that starfish flower, whatever it is, out. So that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, here's the close-ups. I think it came out nice considering. And if you don't like it, hey, there's a dislike button right there just for you. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. There will be plenty more coming. Lots of letters in the alphabet. Bye.